If you pay attention or found it during gameplay, you can see that in Clair Obscur Expedition 33, Nevrons have elemental affinities. They can receive more damage from some elements and less damage from others. So basically attacks either use your weapon or your skill of different elements. For example, physical, light, dark, void, fire, ice, earth, and lightning. So for example, you can see the element for each weapon. If you just over each one, you can see element. There's an icon to represent each one. Okay, this is fire, for example. The green is earth. This is fire. This is light. This is ice. This is dark. And this is void, and so on. You can see the different elements. Now, the way you find if enemies are resistant to a certain element, you basically need to hit them. And there are some things that can help with that. First of all, of course, when you fight, you get experience. You know actually what element which enemies has. I mean, some of them. Or there are some tricks you can use. For example, the elemental trick for Luna. We can hit a single enemy with different elements, ice, fire, lightning, and earth, and check it out. I'm going to show you in a moment how it works. Also, AoE attack like this one for ice and for fire to deal damage to all enemies, or maybe several hits for several enemies, like one that hit, for example, 3 hits and can hit several targets. So you can actually check if it's, for example, this is random hits with lightning. You can see the attack with 4 elements. I know immediately which one is weakened to. Or in this case, ice, right? And look at the left with the burn damage, weakness to fire. So basically the right one is has weakness to ice, and the other one for fire. So I can actually adapt and use things, skills and attacks to take advantage of that weaknesses. Now sometimes even the element is not effective at all. It actually does the opposite. Look at that. It can actually absorb, and you actually heal if you use a certain element against certain enemy. So for certain enemies, there are some situations where enemies have an element they can absorb. They can have higher resistance to, so they deal less damage to them. And they can even have something like Nullify, so you don't even deal damage at all, just wasting a turn. For an example, here I'm going to hit the right enemy with Earth. Look what happened. Oh, this is dark. Now I'm going to hit with Earth, with the weapon itself. Well, I'm healing it, but there is some damage over time. You can see the burn, that is weakened too, so it gets damage. And you can see this is an Earth type character, right? You can see with the attack, so this is why attacking with Earth just does exactly the opposite. And of course you can use AoE and check it out immediately. Let's use fire, for example. We can see that the left and the middle have weakness to fire, but the right not. Let's try an ability with lightning to see if any of them have weakness to lightning. As then you can see, none of them has weakness to lightning. Now Luna has an ability called Mayhem. Basically she generates stains, and then in this case uses the stains that you actually generated to deal damage with this particular type. You can see on the right side. So there's light, lightning, and ice there. So if I execute it, she will execute it, and it will use the stains, the element that are represented there on the right. And you can see that basically none of them here that are applied, the enemy has a weakness too. So this is another way you can actually check things out using certain abilities. Now, another thing to note is that the elements are deeply tied to status effects. For example, applying a status effect like burn, which is basically fire. Slow is ice. Or you can use certain element that have some different interactions with other mechanics. For example, burn damage ticks before shields, make it useful for clipping away the defenses. So if you don't want to waste time on shields or a turn, you can actually just use burn, and some of these defenses will be clipped out due to damage over time of the fire. Another thing which you also have seen here before, that basically skills also, certain skills have different element that you deal damage with them. So you also need to pay attention. It's actually written for each one, like fire, ice, and so on. Now, basic attacks in some skills use the equipped weapons element. So there are some skills that you check, you're going to see that it says, like for momentum strike, uses weapons element. Now this is why in general it's also good that you have different skills and combination of weapon and skill that have multiple elemental types for adapting to different fights, encouraging basically building a versatile team composition that you can deal with different type of elements. And there's more than that. There are some enemies that will shift and basically become like fire and then ice. and the weakness will be inherited accordingly. So when they change, for example, to ice, you need to use fire. When they change to fire, you need to use ice, again, for a single enemy. So basically all of these points are for you to use because it adds a layer of strategic depth to understanding and utilizing elemental affinities in Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Yeah, so use them in your favor. If you have anything to add in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everybody. Cheers.